Islam. That theme of movement building continues into this year's retreat. So what is TIC all about? Let us enjoy a little special video to tell us exactly what TIC is all about. Thank you, dear friends. That was just a snapshot of what TIC is all about and has achieved over 20 years. To help us kick off our celebrations this week, we welcome back the beautiful Desert Rose, who will transport us through their sacred music to a deeper consciousness. You've heard the comforting music as we walked in, and now I'd like to invite them to ignite this opening ceremony with 2 songs of celebration. Thank you, Desert Rose, for such a melodious start to this opening ceremony. Desert Rose will be performing at the COP22 Climate Change Conference in Morocco in a couple of weeks' time. We wish them well with that. I'd now like to invite a fellow board member, Tariq Beaumont, to convey a message on behalf of TIC's governance board.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and may I add my voice to the welcome that TIC would like to extend to you. It's lovely to see old friends from previous years and anticipate making new friends. It's a great honor to have you here with us for yet another year. The theme of this year's year is movement building, challenges, tools, and strategies, and the shared objective being to create an all-inclusive and compassion-centered Islam. And simply being here is a sign that we've all embarked on this journey. It's a truly remarkable spiritual journey. It's for the good of ourselves, and it's also for the good of our fellows. It's a fascinating journey which never ceases to throw up new challenges and opportunities to deepen our understanding of what inclusivity and what compassion and what love actually means. I think we can never really know the end of that answer. I'm reminded of something that Rumi said about developing God consciousness. I quote, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it."
Thank you, Tariq. So we celebrate 20 years of existence today. The Jummah khutbah earlier gave us just a glimpse of an amazing journey that started 20 years ago. And I'm surprised now, I don't remember whether Ridwan said it, but it started in a garage in Muhsin's house. And we often speak about how TIC has evolved from working in a garage to the international organization that it has become. So today we are celebrating that incredible journey. And much of TIC's growth and evolution is owed to one person's vision and perseverance. And there would not have been a TIC without this man. So my dear friends, to deliver the opening address, please join me in welcoming the founder and the executive director of TIC, Imam Muhsin Hendricks.
Thank you, and Assalamu alaikum. There's a lot of people in the room. Feeling a bit overwhelmed because all I'm seeing is a bunch of beautiful souls, and if there's a heaven, then this must be it. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. I seek refuge in Allah against all forms of negativity and distractions. I begin in the name of Allah, the tenderly compassionate, the infinitely merciful. رب ادخلني مدخل صدق واخرجني مخرج صدق واجعل لي من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. We thank Allah for guiding us to this space. Was it not for the guidance of Allah, surely we would be lost. And O our sustainer and nourisher, we ask you that you make our entry into this retreat one of sidq, of trust, authenticity and integrity. And we ask you to make our exit from this retreat one of sidq, of trust, authenticity and integrity. And we ask you to send from your presence influential energy and dedication to commit to such a long process. 8 days is a lot of time. And so I'm truly grateful for your decision to be with us today and to be with us above all the many other places you could have possibly been in. And so I welcome you as my guest and the guest of TIC. And I hope that in no way have I set up any expectations of how this relationship between guest and host is going to play off in the next 7 days. But I want you to know that I am committed to honoring you as our guest. And so the annual international retreat is indeed a spiritual retreat. It's a space for spiritual rejuvenation and empowerment. It looks like a conference at times, but it's actually a retreat. And our retreats are always challenging. It's emotionally draining, and it's impactful on a personal and a collective level. And so we try our best to maintain AIR as a safe space for all. But with the diversity of people in the room, it remains a challenge for TIC to keep it completely safe for everyone. And so I trust that we will all commit to keeping AIR as a safe space for all, so that we can all reap the maximum benefits of what it has to offer. And so other than planning a planned program, there's lots of other things we can expect as participants at AIR. We can expect conflict within ourselves as we engage with the challenges of the topics that are being presented. And so let us not resist that change that's necessary for us. The universe is compassionate enough to issue us with the same problems again and again until we can master them. And we may also experience disagreements and conflicts with one another. Conflict is healthy. So let us then focus on what is being said and not necessarily on the person who says it. We can expect difficult conversations to unfold, disagreements, frustrations, and anger. Sit with that. If you're not able to sit with that, then at least what we can do is to walk away and to not allow ourselves to break down the process or to break down others. At AIR this year, we will talk a lot about painful narratives. Because it is so painful for many of us, we would need to keep a healthy balance between supporting one another through our pain and detachments from the story we tell ourselves about our pain. We are not undermining the legitimacy of our wounds, but we must give ourselves permission this week to redefine our engagements and relationship with our pain. It's okay to own our pain, but not to allow pain to own us. So in maintaining AIR as a safe space and our commitments to keeping it safe, there will be structure and there will be rules of engagements. In a shared space like AIR, we must remain conscious of our rank and our privilege. And for the sake of movement building, we must be willing to forego some of our privileges. So how do we engage with resources is another point of reflection. In privileged societies, we may have the luxury to align our resources to our needs. In societies where that privilege is not available, we realign our needs to the limited resources that's available. And so at A, we forego some of our privileges to complain about the privilege we now don't have that we were otherwise used to. Each one of us at this A will play a particular role. In a minute, I will pass you an archetype card. On the card, you will see the archetype and the contrast in the archetype, your light attribute and your shadow attribute. This is the dominant archetype that will surface for you at A this year. Some of us will pick up the card and will be amazed at how accurately the card reflects our dominant archetype in the moment. Hopefully you will take it on and you will endeavor to move in the next 7 days from your shadow attribute to your light attribute. We need you to suspend judgment of yourself and of others at this point. We all have dualities within ourselves, and we are just divinely wired that way. And some of us may read the card and will say, no, this is nonsense. This is not for me. And that's exactly the archetype that you'll be playing this week. And so perhaps that will be one of the ways that you will engage with the challenges at air. And we just want you to be aware of that. So the card is under your seat. And for those who don't have a card, Ikram will come and pass you one. I'll give you a minute to reflect on your archetype. So we want you to hold on to that card for the next 7 days, and maybe every day you can reflect on how much you've been moving away from your shadow into your light attribute. Thank you. This year TIC is celebrating 20 years of spiritual activism. I remember 20 years ago, just after my divorce in 1996, I started a khalqa, a study circle called Al-Fitrah, in the garage of my home in Pelican Park. And I'm sure that's the last time you're going to hear about this garage in Pelican Park. We were 6 queer Muslims then, and at the same time in other parts of the world, I've learned that queer Muslims were also starting to question and to mobilize themselves. In the Netherlands, in the UK, in the USA, and in Canada. Thanks to Faisal Alam, who is our guest at this year, it was that 19-year-old boy who brought a few of us together in 1998 to form the Al-Fitrah organization in the US. And 20 years later, we are all here, an international movement. Alhamdulillah, it was hard work. Many of us sacrificed our lives for the movement. I remember Faisal telling the story of how he ended up in hospital because of burnout, giving so much of yourself for the movement. I remember Al-Faruq sharing times of exhaustion of how he has to fill so many spaces and being the voice when voice was needed, and how tiring that can sometimes be. I remember Imam Dai pushing forward despite the lack of resources and the support that we sometimes don't get. And I doubled up in size because of stress. And I used to be so sexy at the time. It's one of my privileges that I had to give up. And what's wonderful, this movement wasn't started by TIC. I won't take credit for that. The movement was started by people like the 4 people I've just mentioned in this room. And I just want you for one moment to honor them. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, he says, a small body of determined spirits fired by an unquenchable faith in their mission can alter the course of history. And we did. This is the movement. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited for this year's air. There are endless possibilities of what can and will happen. not just from the program of A, but also the unplanned transformations and mobilizations that happens just as a result of being our awesome selves and as a result of being under one roof. And so let's see what the A has planned for us formally. And so let's just take a moment to briefly go through the program. Ikram, you want to just pass my program? So we're on the opening day, page 9. So after the opening ceremony, there will be a short break of about 15 minutes, a refresher break. And then you have to move into your tracks for the track orientation. All of you by now would have noticed that on your name tag, there's a sticker with either one of these tracks that you see at the back there, and that's the track that we have assigned for you. So you will move into those tracks at 5 o'clock, and there will be some orientation, some safe space setting. You are free to share some of your expectations in that space, and then also some of your commitments that you make for the next 7 days. And then the rest of the program is very lightly for today. There will be dinner at 7:20, and then we come back into this room after dinner, and there will be blankets and there will be cushions, and so you'll be relaxing on the floor, going through a healing process with sound and silence by Desert Rose. Tomorrow is a busy day. The morning plenary starts at 8:30. Let us attempt to be punctual. And then you will notice that almost every day there's a morning plenary and then there's an afternoon plenary. And then during the day there's discussions where you go into your tracks. There's an in-track discussion, so parts of that morning will be spent on discussing what was shared in the plenaries, and the other parts your track chair will tell you about. And then the track work session in the afternoon, those are specific things that you as a track will decide what you want to discuss in those spaces. But what happens is that your track chair will ask one volunteer in your group to prepare a 7-minute PowerPoint slide for the afternoon plenary. And so that's when we all come back together again, and then we have a snippet of what people have been discussing through the day. Day 2 is very the same, but don't forget Shurur with Siraj. Siraj plays this wonderful instrument with his dhikr, so it's a nice way of relaxing. On day 3, same as day 2, except that in the afternoon there won't be feedback plenaries, but there will be the launch of the documentary in this room. That's TIC's new documentary. On day 4, pretty much the same, quite a jam-packed day. And then probably at the end of the day you want to release some stress with Muhammad Yusuf. And don't forget, after dinner we come back into this room, and that's the time when you probably want to let loose a little bit. I'm giving permission for that. So Mo will guide you through that. So if anybody still wants to display their talents, Mo is there, either singing or dancing or reading poetry, whatever it is. I'm definitely going to be there. And then on day 5, that's my highlight. It was my idea. I just love drumming. So you can imagine 120 people all drumming together. And that's going to be awesome. Don't miss that. Day 6, you'll have some free time after your afternoon plenary, which is pushed a little bit forward. And that's for you to either relax, it's about 2 hours there, or to get ready for the gala evening. I hope everybody has read their the letters that Zenith sent them, reminding them that the gala evening it's a very formal evening. It's where we want you to shine and to enjoy the evening, and we want to spoil you a little bit also on that night. So please come in your glitter. And then on day 7, it's a very important day. It's our closing plenary. It will also be a very sad day because we would have shared so much love between each other. And so that's the day when we have to say goodbye. But before we say goodbye, we would have to get a sense of commitment, of ownership for the movement. What are you prepared to go back and do to enrich this movement in your own context? And then we'll have a nice closing ritual before we send you off. Great, I hope you're going to enjoy the program. We ask Allah to grant us knowledge and experience this week that will grow us, and to keep us away from information that will be harmful for us. We also ask Allah to guide our intentions this week, our hearts and our tongues, that we will say and will do only that which builds up and not break down. And we ask Allah to guide our efforts and our plans that will come out from this year's air. So I now declare this air officially open, and may Allah bless our safe space. Shukran.
we share one spiritual community, whether we are Muslim, whether we are Hindu, or whatever nationality or culture or religion we're coming from. And that until the day that we can have the vision that we have all souls instead of whatever identity we claim, only then will we be able to establish harmony in this world.
Thank you, Desert Rose, and shukran. Thank you, Imam Muhsin, for that inspiring address. I see Imam Muhsin had his Oprah moment there. You have a card, and you have a card, and all of you have a card, so I hope you enjoyed that. So after that inspiring message from Imam Muhsin, allow us to set the framework for the week. The AIR Charter clarifies the focus, direction, and boundaries of the retreat. The AIR Charter will now be read by one of the facilitators of the PDY track, the Program for the Development of Youth, Monique Sheikji.
Assalamu alaikum. The annual International Retreat Charter reads as follows. AIR is a safe space for all stakeholders in which their beliefs, values, and ideas are communicated and respected. It is a secure space in which the engagement through dialogue, information sharing, and the sharing of lived experiences are promoted. AIR is a space of mutual respect for difference and the celebration of our human diversity. AIR is a space through which the healing and well-being of participants are promoted through spirituality. AIR is a space in which the leadership of the movement is strengthened and nurtured. AIR is a space in which the movement's capacity is built through effective communication and training. AIR is the platform from which the movement is strengthened through the development of a common vision and a united voice. AIR embraces different sects and schools of thought within our faith traditions. AIR unequivocally promotes an all-inclusive and compassion-centered Islam.
Thank you, Monique. So what are the objectives of AIR 2016? Why does TIC invest in all of us to gather here this week? To list the objectives of this annual international retreat, I'd like to invite a fellow board member, Advocate Shafia Mohammed.
You should all actually clap for me not falling on the stairs because I'm actually quite the klutz. Anyway, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. As you heard from Ikram, I'm the latest addition to the TIC family, a new board member, the only woman on the board, and I love it. Because I'm treated like an absolute princess, and I want to say thank you to Muxin and Ridwan and Tariq and Ikram and Shahid, who's in Joburg. But anyway, okay, so this is also my first AIR retreat, never been here before. And it's also, I come into TIC at the 20th year, and I'm hoping that I will be here for the next 20 or longer than that. Okay. So I was given the honor of reading out the AIR objectives for 2016, so that I have an introduction myself to the overall objectives. The overall objective of AIR 2016 is building a movement towards an all-inclusive and compassion-centered Islam. And in order to do this, we need to create, maintain, and promote safe and secure spaces for all participants at AIR in which their belief, values, ideas, and identities are respected. Safe spaces that promote engagement through dialogue, sharing information, and lived experiences. And I'm so used to dictating, I was almost going to say beliefs, values, Okay, so we also need to create an environment that is conducive to personal and spiritual reflections and through activities that promote psycho-spiritual well-being. We need to create an environment that supports and promotes youth creativity and leadership. We must engage various stakeholders on sexual orientation and gender identity and the intersectionalities with other social issues. We need to create visibility for the efforts benefits and impacts of international partner organizations at A. We need to build movement through strengthening the capacity of partner organizations and its leadership. We need to promote access to information on sexual orientation and gender identity in Islam. We need to strengthen the movement towards an all-inclusive and compassion-centered Islam. So, inshallah, over the next 7 days, we achieve most, if not all of these. And just to conclude, just on what Tariq and Ridwan had said in the khutbah, for me, I'm going to just quote Rumi, because for me, the all-encompassing thing for this whole retreat would be close your eyes, fall in love, and stay there. Salam.
Close your eyes, fall in love, be treated like a queen, and stay there. So it's my pleasant task to talk about rules. I think it's important to be clear about setting some boundaries, especially as Imam Muhsin said, in a shared, safe space like A presents. The rules for A are informed by a legitimate expectation of respect for others in a shared, safe space, as well as experiences that we've had at previous retreats. So these are the rules of engagement for A 2016, and I'm going to read them out to you. Firstly, A is a safe space for all our stakeholders. Hence, the inner circle does not promote the consumption of alcohol or the use of intoxicating substances at any of its events, even though this may be available for purchase at this shared venue. The inner circle would like to maintain A as a safe space for all, and hence after parties and late-night get-togethers will not be allowed, especially where such get-togethers interfere with the values of A, the realization of its objectives, the privacy and safety of its participants. The inner circle promotes responsible sex. Hence, we provide a safe sex pack to all our participants. However, the inner circle does not promote casual sex and instead promote the formation of healthy and lasting spiritual partnerships across the sexuality and gender spectrum. TIC invested in you for this A and selected you as a participant based on our belief that you are what it takes to build a movement. We thus require you to participate in the entire program and to your fullest capacity where possible. Imam Muhsin spoke about respecting diversity. Do not assume that everyone at A shares your beliefs, your views, your identities, or your personal interests. You will see that you have name tags with specific color codes on it, and we trust that everybody will respect whatever the color code represents. A quick word about social media. I know we are living in the technological age, and social media is huge, but please ask for permission from the person that you are taking a photograph of, and please ask for permission when you are posting any image or tagging anybody on any of the social media. We trust that you will honor these rules and help to keep A safe space for all. Before we proceed with the candle lighting ceremony, I'd like to invite Ladeem, who is assisting with the communications for A 2016, to say a few words about the communications for this retreat.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Ladeem. I am coordinating the communications for this A 2016, and there's a couple of things that I thought was really important for you guys to know as we're really trying to push the communications this year. Last year, TIC, we ventured into live streaming, and it was kind of uncharted territory for us, so we're hoping to improve on it this year. So there will be live streaming. I want you guys to know the live streaming will be taking place only during the plenaries in the morning. And you don't have to worry about anonymity or safety security because the streaming will not be focusing on anybody's faces. Secondly, we really want to encourage you guys to tweet and Facebook and post pictures and just whatever pops out during sessions or workshops or plenaries, just push it out there. Try to get some discourse happening around it. We're going to be having tomorrow all over the venue, particularly where the sessions are happening. We're going to be having the hashtags that we really want to encourage you to use. You can use whatever hashtags you like as well. But we're going to have about 4 or 5 hashtags that we want to start, getting out there and have people trending around and creating discussion around that. We're going to be having a communications team of about 5 people, and you will get to know them as the days go by, because they'll be kind of targeting certain people and doing interviews, and just trying to profile certain people to again create awareness around movement building and the essence of what the conference is about. So if you have any further questions around communications, or yes, Chantal. Yeah, so yes, good question. So the communications team have already been briefed on policies of confidentiality and sensitive information. So no names will ever be mentioned during communique. The venue location will never be mentioned during communications, and people's faces without their permission will never be sent onto social media. And then in terms of confidential information, only information that interviewees, for example, that are being profiled consent to will be used.
Ladim, I'm wanting to check specifically when participants post, and stuff that they say coming out of plenary sessions. Is there parameters for them that they need to be aware of?
I think we just need to remember that if you are going to be posting something like Ikram said, don't post anything that, and I'm going to go more deeply into your question. Don't post anything that you know is going to compromise the safety and security of participants at the conference. Also, in the spirit of inclusivity, in the spirit of movement building and togetherness, do not post anything that could be construed as sexism, misogyny, xenophobia, discrimination, Islamophobia, homophobia, transphobia, and all the other isms and obias that are out there. I think it's very important to remember that. We, of course, TRC can't control your personal views when posting, but I think in the spirit of community, I think it would be good to bear that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Ladim. We will now commence with the opening track ceremony. If there are any other questions regarding communications, I think there will be an information desk outside, and Ladim will be there. We can answer any of those questions. For now, let's start with the opening track ceremony. As you may have seen in your conference package, we have 7 tracks at AIR 2016, and Imam Hussein took us through the tracks. Each track is represented by a candle at the front of this hall on stage, and the candle at the center represents TIC. Dear friends, we know that light has been used in many ways as symbolism. Light symbolizes knowledge, it symbolizes purity, cleansing, rebirth. Light could also represent revelation, goodness, warmth, and hope. Like bees and butterflies around a candlelight during a dark night, our bodies, minds, and souls get attracted to the light. And we also know that our spiritual experiences and expressions of the divine often have light as the central point. And as we read in the Quran, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth, and we are all manifestations of that divine light. So to formalize the opening of AIR 2016, I will invite each of the track chairs to come forward as I call their name, to light the candle representing their track, and to make a short statement about their track's commitment to AIR 2016. I'd first like to invite Imam Muhsin to come forward and light the candle that represents the inner circle. track chair for the Forum for Spiritual Leaders, Al-Farouk Kaki.
Assalamu alaikum. Spiritual leaders that hopefully get spiritual nourishment and can disseminate it out, not just here but through the world for our own healing and for our own growth and compassion. Amen.
The track chair for the International Gender Forum, Fatima Nurdin.
This will be a forum to engage with issues pertaining to Islamic feminism and women's contribution to movement building. I hope you saw the strategy that I had. I went in front and initially the candles wouldn't light. So women will always have to do the extra bit. Let's hope we can build it together with a group like this. Thank you.
The track chair, Transgender Health, Education and Youth, Jannat Ali.
I commit on behalf of my whole participants in the track to engage each other, to respect each other, and to give lights which TIC has brought change in our lives, and to spread the light in the whole world. And it's not only my or transgender track, it's all about you, and you can always come and ask and be part of it.
Track chair, Program for the Development of Youth, PDY, Muhammad Yusuf Motara.
One day they planned to put the 12 candle for me. Assalamu alaikum everyone. On behalf of the PDY, we commit to creating a safe space where all participants have the freedom to express their true identity, have dialogue around challenging situations, identify common values, express our creativity and develop our potential as great leaders. In so doing, we hope to establish greater synergy between youth leaders in building a movement towards an all-inclusive and compassion-centered Islam. As track chair, I commit to working with my fellow facilitators and participants to the best of our ability in order to achieve this objective. Thank you.
Track chair, Islamic Peace Circle Safe Space, Riza Saluji.
We, as the IPC or Islamic Peace Circles, safe spaces, seek to promote awareness of and respect for the diverse LGBTQI cultures in existence today. We offer safe, non-judgmental, and supportive spaces for people of all sexual orientations, races, ethnicities, nationalities, genders, religions, ages, and abilities. We strive to become more knowledgeable in all aspects pertaining to maintaining safe spaces and also in providing access to sensitive, trustworthy, and professional persons to all LGBTQI individuals who require such assistance. I commit myself to honoring the objectives of this role as track chair to make sure that our ultimate goal for this movement has been attained, and also commit to giving all of my own compassion, love, and mercy unto my fellow track representatives in achieving this objective. Lastly, we aim to foster an atmosphere which supports the growth and success of our fellow LGBTQI persons, as well as ensuring that everyone is treated with respect and dignity at all times.
Track Chair, the Gay Queer Muslim Network, GQMN, Alvin Anthony.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. It was said you're altering the course of history, and we should celebrate that. It's historic. And where I come from, and a large part of my experience, when we celebrate our power, we shout, Amandla. Away to. I will facilitate, listen, learn, and accompany the process in order to consolidate and advance what I would call the ideological, the theological, the strategy, and the institutional congruence of movement building so that we build resilient movements that can withstand pressures both internal and external, from places where there's more space to spaces where there's even death. So let's celebrate our hope. Let's move forward positively. There's a lot to build on. Thank you.
Track Chair, International Trainers Forum, Nasrullah bin Umar.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I chair the International Trainers Forum, TRAC, and the operative word there is international. So I've got a very difficult task in that sense. So there will be challenges, obviously people from different parts of the world. So I think my biggest challenge, if I could unite everyone, despite their differences, and that we could come out by the end of this week where we all share the same visions and work in the spirit of oneness and togetherness. Then I think the job will be done. And I think let's just put our differences aside and focus on the work that needs to be done. That's it.
Thank you, Track Chairs. May I request that all of us seated here close our eyes for a minute and let us center ourselves and reflect on our own presence, our own commitment to this retreat, and our commitment to the movement. So let us spend a few moments in quiet contemplation.